You are now listening to the Happily Ever Banter podcast. Let's go!
All right, we are live. We got somebody in studio today. He's been in front of the camera once.
Oh, he has? On the Dale and Dale podcast.
Recently, in a Tiger series.
On the Joe Exotic episode. But yeah, we got Miss Chelsea and Magnus, a.k.a. John. I guess you can call his real government name. The Manigolds. We call them the Magnuses around here. This is we got to find out what the plural is for Magnus.
I think it's Magnus.
But yeah, we got the episode 20.
That's right, episode 20, and we get to have you on this side of the screen.
Yep. Yes, I said, I talked about it early on. I said, we need to get y'all on. One, we haven't had you in here. Being it's a couple podcasts, you guys been together a long time. Plethora of kids. It'd be fun to talk about.
Big word, plethora. I like it.
Plethora.
Plethora.
Oh,
It's big, not pleather.
I know.
Not those pants you wear.
Okay, yeah.
So what's up, Chelsea?
Not much.
First time. Don't be nervous. It's all good.
It's okay. I was nervous the first time, too.
There's only millions of people that watch this.
I know.
And,
but just think, a lot of people listen to it. They won't actually watch the YouTube. Well, I guess they do. Huh?
we get a lot
of views. Spotify too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we get a lot of views there.
Hello, Spotify.
Yep. So there's So we got the Manigolds in the house. I want to talk to them, being that it's a couples podcast and they're a couple close to us. We're gonna have them in and have some conversation, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
I'm glad I only told Chelsea about this a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
That way she didn't have to panic for weeks.
Yeah. I want you stressing out.
Well, I know Dale had mentioned it like a couple weeks ago, whatever. If y'all would come on, you were like, I don't know, Chelsea's going to be nervous. I'm like, it's not that bad,
And it is hard to find a sitter for 6 kids.
I know. I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So if you listen to the Down to Doe podcast, you've heard Magnus has 6 kids, and so it's equivalent to what the Busbys have. It's crazy to meet another family that's got 6 kids, but I'm sure it's even tougher when they're spread out. What are their ages again?
3 to 12.
3 to 12.
We got twin 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
But
what's funny is I was pregnant with Barrett, our third kid, whenever the Busbys had the Quints.
Okay.
Really?
So the Quints and Barrett are the same age.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And our oldest about the same age as Blake. I think. Well, Blake
A
just
year
turned
younger.
13.
Yeah, she's a year younger.
Yeah. So we actually met Magnus through the Busbys when you were filming with them on some I think with the Texans deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when we first met.
So y'all knew back then, and then you were in that mom.
Yes, moms of multiples. I knew Danielle. Like we were in a small group with the Busbys whenever they were pregnant with Blake.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She worked with Danielle at AP Networks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's
With her for a
right.
little bit there.
Yes. I remember.
Okay.
Danielle said
Before
that.
all the kids, right? I think.
Yeah, that was for any kids.
That was before she had any of the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she had Blake. Did she have Blake?
Well, she was pregnant with Blake whenever we were in the small group, and then we went off with his work at NASA, and then I think she had Blake while we were gone because I remember crocheting her a baby blanket.
Oh, nice.
While we were living in Florida.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding?
That's Chelsea's alarm to drink scotch.
I love Scott. Yeah, I love it.
I turned off all
You
the
got red.
alarms.
She just. You look sunburned.
Wow.
So I guess we
Sunburned.
can tell everybody. I guess y'all can give us a little bit of background, like how y'all met, how long y'all been together.
Yep. So we met actually on my parents' anniversary of 2009.
Oh, I forgot they were arranged marriage.
January 26th.
Oh, y'all were in arranged marriage?
Yeah.
Oh,
we all are in our faith.
He got on to his mom for not suggesting him to me.
My mom was trying to hook Chelsea up with another guy that I actually was friends with. And whenever she found out that we were in the same small group and started hanging out, she was like, what? Because I went through a little bit of a prodigal son phase after high school and college. And I straightened my life back out and started going back to church. But I actually tried to get into a men's small group at a Bible study, and the men's group was full. And then I got into a mixed couples group, which was mostly girls.
Well, it wasn't couples; it was mixed adults, like college age.
Yeah, as I was saying.
Well, luckily you would have married a dude if you went to that dude one.
Probably.
Okay,
You
yeah.
said mixed couples, so if you weren't seeing anybody, it'd be
Shout out
odd to be in a
Wayne
mixed couples.
Yeah, it wasn't couples; it was a college group.
Okay,
is what we were in.
College,
So it was
college and
mixed.
career kind of.
Yeah.
College and
there was a lot of
career.
couples. Well, there was a bunch of people at NASA, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Put that closer. There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so what year was that?
2009.
2009, yeah.
So we met in January 2009, and we started seeing each other. Was it
On the regular, probably.
February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, and
Saw the Spasmatics.
yeah, we went and
Scout.
saw the Spasmatics.
They're always there.
We've seen
Great show.
And we just
There's
started
romance in the air.
hanging with each other every day since. And then in March, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was like, finally. And then in May, he asked me to be his wife. And then in October,
May, so February, March, April, May. 4 months later.
Yeah.
4 months later.
Hey, when you know, you know.
I
and
was
then
ready to
in
get married in May.
October of the same year, we got married.
Oh my gosh! So how old were y'all at the time?
I was 27.
You were 27, and I was 24.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So you knew he was the one after 4 months?
Yeah, my dad told me growing up, he's like, I know whenever you meet the man God has for you, it's going to go fast. And I was always like, Dad, we're going to take our time.
Yeah.
We're going to get to know each other. But because our families knew each other for 9 years before me and him actually officially met, like we knew who each other were, but we weren't actually introduced.
Okay.
But like his younger brother is in my grade. And so we went to junior high and high school together, and I remember seeing him whenever I was a freshman and he was a senior, and our moms worked in the elementary office together. So his mom loved me. My mom had been around their family.
She didn't really like John, but it worked.
They knew who John was. And like the night we met, I came home and I was like, hey, I met John Manigold. My mom was like, really? I was like, yeah, he just joined my small group. And it was just, that was it.
Sparks flew, emotions ran high.
Dude.
And then how long did y'all until y'all had y'all's first child?
2 years after.
2 years? Okay.
Yeah.
So y'all had time to each other. Then.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, all of my friends thought that she was pregnant.
You're rushing
we
it.
got married
Oh,
so
because you
fast.
got married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nowadays people, you think like that. You know, you're like, all right, is she pregnant? Or maybe she's not, but maybe eventually come out. You know, once you get married.
Yeah.
I bet one of my coworkers $100, and he still hasn't paid up. That he's like, "Oh, you're going to be pregnant within the first year." We didn't have a kid for 2 years.
Well, everything came. I mean, I guess everything progressed so quick. It's easy to think like, oh man, you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The next step was have a kid.
yeah, but we weren't ready. It wasn't God's timing. Plus, we would have had a baby in Florida or Switzerland if we would have.
Yeah. Well,
Got
I don't
pregnant.
know if it would have been born in Europe, but definitely in Florida.
Y'all lived in Europe?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We were in Switzerland. Well, Swiss-French border at CERN.
For what?
I'm going to lose all the cool people here for a second, get nerd out. But I was working on a project called the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer at CERN.
Oh, I know about that
It was
project.
in NASA, yeah, antimatter. I mean, it's basic fundamental
So
stuff. but-
you were there for a NASA project.
yeah. So we were there for like 3 months. It was a crazy time whenever the shuttle was about to. We didn't even know if it was going to launch at the time. It was a really crazy time. And what was great about it was we'd only been married for 9 months.
I think like 6 months. Like we got married in, well, it might have been 9. We got married in October, and then we left at the June 1st. We flew out.
Yeah, so it was a quick turnaround, but it was great because we didn't have our friends and family there to like run away and when we'd fight, and we fought.
Yeah.
When I tried to teach her how to drive a stick shift
Oh,
over in Europe.
Not good.
wasn't easy, huh?
Yeah, reverse psychology does not work. I was like,
Not
you can't
on
do
me.
it, just quit, give up. And
I got
quit?
out of the car.
she
She
was
quit.
trying to kill me.
Hey, they say that's the one things you need to learn how to do, but nowadays they don't even. Do they even still make stick shift?
I mean, if you get a sports car,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
or you buy an old
to
vehicle.
me, I think I would figure it out. I mean,
when we first
What?
dated, I had a
He
standard.
did, and I hated it. My neck would be like going back and forth. Like, this is terrible.
Could she drive a stick?
No,
Yeah.
She never tried.
I never tried.
Never tried?
I always wanted to, and so I wanted him to teach me. But then the parking lots are just so small over there. I could only get into third gear and then have to shift back down
Yeah.
in a second. And then so he was like, okay, well, let's go up onto the road. There's not a whole lot of traffic. It was an incline. And I kept stalling
That's-
out. And that's where I got mad at him because he was like, just quit, just give up. Thinking that would motivate me because that would motivate him. I'm like, that doesn't work on me.
It shut you down. Yeah.
That's going to make me hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess so. Yeah. But you're there and you're like, all you got is each other. So you got to figure it out.
And we lived in a studio apartment kind of a thing. So like the couch was like this and it folded out into our bed.
Oh
The
wow.
So that's what we
space was
slept
about
on.
This big, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Seriously.
gosh.
seriously, like the space that we slept in was the living room area, bedroom area. Then we had like a little galley for the kitchen, and then you would go around the corner and there would be a little bathroom. That was it.
Did the bed fold up? It was like a Murphy bed?
No, it was a couch bed.
No, it just folded out.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, wow.
So
So how long were y'all there?
3
Just
months.
3 months, yeah.
Okay, so it's probably a long 3 months though.
Yeah, well,
That
like
close of quarters and
No air conditioning.
yeah, they didn't have air conditioning,
Oh,
but we
shit.
never got
Hell
June,
no.
hot.
July, August.
Oh, okay.
I'd step out our porch and see Mount Blanc. So I mean,
Oh,
it was,
dang.
yeah,
It's
it
a
was
good
really
view.
nice. So yeah, no ice. Like whenever you want ice in your drinks, they're like, go up to Mount Blanc and get it if you
Oh,
want
wow.
ice.
They were so rude. It was great.
you damn Americans.
Yeah.
It's your ice.
But like he ended up buying me a bike so that I wasn't stuck at the apartment all day, and I would just ride around the town and just see all the sights and come back home. And he would have lunch for 2 hours in the middle of the day
Yeah, we could drink wine at lunch.
Hell yeah.
on site. But he would
amazing.
come home and have lunch with me and
They
spend
sold-
that 2 hours.
They sold wine in the cafeteria at
Oh, wow.
on site. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, dude, but their health, everything's better there. Like,
I
as far
loved
as far
it.
as the health and like the food's better for you, it's less
yeah.
processed. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that are like you hear people going over there like, man, I could eat pasta and everything over there, and I don't feel like you do here
Yeah.
with all the extra stuff they put in our foods.
Yeah.
Because over here you gain weight, over there you lose it. Like you don't.
Well, even their like products, skincare products, it was I ended up having to buy makeup over there, and I loved it. And then whenever I ran out, I couldn't buy anymore. I
Yeah.
was like, man, should have bought more before we left.
No kidding.
But yeah.
So 3 months there, come back. That's when we went to Florida.
Yeah, and then 9 months in Florida. It would have been shorter, but the launch kept getting delayed. So we ended up being there for 9 months.
Yeah, it was a pretty aggressively accelerated schedule, but moving
So-
up because we didn't even have a shuttle launch manifest at the time. We were just kind of going through the motions because they had already spent like $2 billion on this project,
Oh,
getting
wow.
it to this point. They've been working on it since the 80s. It's a crazy project, but it's up there right now, and they've had several repair missions. They've had to fix a bunch of this stuff. I didn't mess anything up.
Yeah.
You're the
So-
one who helped fix it after it messed up.
We were always on full-on panic mode, repairing it, and always coming up with creative solutions. I worked with some of the smartest people, like Trent Martin out there. Shout out Trent. Just genius. He could always figure out some way to fix problems and hide stuff from NASA so they didn't scrub our launch. That was crazy.
So what was y'all's dating life prior to y'all meeting? Like, how was that? Like,
We basically like hung out every day. Like,
You talking about before we met?
like before you met? Like, did y'all like?
oh, 0.
Okay.
He was my first boyfriend.
Yeah, I never had a boyfriend either, so we have a lot in common.
Dude, that was
Well,
easy
you
to
almost
talk
joined
about.
that men's group.
Yeah, he's very adamant about that men's group. I'm glad you got him, Chelsea.
No, I had a couple girlfriends. I was a pretty late bloomer. I think I had my first kiss was when I was 17, and she broke my heart. And it was real, I don't know, it was like 17, 18, 19. I had a couple of fairly serious girlfriends, but I just knew I had to be mean to girls for them to like me back the way I wanted to be liked.
Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't be
like
myself.
teasing.
Well, just like kind of bad boy or whatever.
Okay.
You're such a bad boy, John.
I was always the super sweet, nice, innocent guy, and I was like, I'm not getting the girls. I bought a house when I was like 25, I think. And it was like, oh, now I'm going to get the ladies. Don't buy a house to try to get ladies. It's a waste of money.
PSA
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. So all my friends, my roommates that had not very good jobs were getting 7-8 girls a week. And
Jeez.
I was.
And you had a house and couldn't get none. Maybe them girls didn't want a house.
I guess not. But,
But like I said, and that's the thing, you think about these things, like, me and Chris got together, we were 19, and you think about all the stuff that happened for us to get together. We were 19, so I met Danielle, and then from there we became friends, and then I met her sister, so it's just, it's crazy how you think back, like, man, what if I never met,
what if Danielle,
would we ever would have crossed paths?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's weird, you start thinking about that.
yeah, the thin threads.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That means
What's funny is like whenever we were making our slideshow for our wedding, we were going through pictures, and we were both homeschooled, and so like one of the pictures he brought up, I was like, hey, I was at Ellington Field also for that shuttle. And John was like, oh, well, I went in the cockpit. And I was like, well, I was out in the crowd just watching. And
humble brag.
Yeah, and so like we were like, that would be so awesome if we were in the background of each other's pictures. Of course, quality back then wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And then I went to a picture of my karate teacher. He was like, oh my gosh, I had Chad as my karate teacher. And he pulled the picture out, and it was like, I'm on one side of Chad, and he's on the other. So in our slideshow, we had it.
That was the boy you made cry. He kicked his ass.
No.
He was in it before me.
That didn't happen.
And so if we showed the picture of John with him and then faded into me with him since I was on the opposite side. So that was kind of cool. And it was just kind of cool seeing the ways our life, like, were parallel to each other till finally we met at small group. But it was just kind of like we had parallel lives.
Yeah, we had a ton in common, but just had...
It's crazy what you did have in common, like the homeschool thing. Like, that's, like I said, you talking about homeschool, like I don't really know of any other people I've been homeschooled. Then met you, then talking to your brother tonight, he said the same thing. And then I knew y'all were homeschooled, so...
Yeah, I was homeschooled till my brother graduated high school, but we weren't always homeschooled. Like, we went to public school first, and then Trey was having issues, and so my parents were like, you know what, this is too much. Let's just bring him home. And whenever he graduated and my cousin had moved in with us, my mom was like, all right, this is enough. I can't go on with two more for this more many years. And so that's when we found Bay Area.
Chelsea over here does homeschool for 6 kids.
Yeah, and now you homeschool.
I couldn't imagine.
They tell your mom, like, dude, I got 6 kids, you couldn't handle 2? Like... Step it up.
My mom like tells me all the time, she's like, you're a better woman than I am. She's like, I could not have done this. But we're also in 2 co-ops, so we're basically doing school at home 3 days a week, but it's really 2.
Well, the co-op thing makes it seem like a lot easier.
It is,
because they do get the interactions that they miss from school with other kids.
Yeah.
And then, like, from talking with Magnus about, like, I guess they do learn other life skill things from it too, which is pretty
and
cool.
some of them have an opportunity to play sports and stuff, right?
Yeah, they're you can sign them up for sports, and like we just do swim during the summer because during the school year it's kind of hard for them to do the 2 co-ops, and then they also have to, like, they're doing instruments, and so they're having to practice their instruments, and it's just like we want them to not be like spread out all over the place. And
well, with 6 kids, this would be tough to go everywhere with every kid too.
Yeah,
I mean, like, just 2 kids for y'all having
we're
basketball.
We're busy,
volleyball.
I know.
It's we're split up quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about swimming is because all the kids can do it, and we're all going to the same place.
And they all do the same day, which is all ages.
Yeah,
that's good.
They're all the same day, and so
same team. That's rare that you can find something like an activity, and that it's not competitive where it's like, oh, he didn't throw me the ball, or I didn't get to bat. I played t-ball, and we had Barrett in t-ball for a little while, and it's such an individual sport and team sport. There's too many variables for individual growth, I felt. So that's why swim is just perfect for little kids that you want to build their self-esteem.
Yep.
yeah.
Shave some time off. And
Get them into golf next. That's a good solo sport. That's what I did growing up. So,
I'm not a big golfer.
but you learn a lot. I had nobody golfed in my family, and then I went to golf with a friend's dad, and that's how. But yeah, I wouldn't. I grew up in a trailer out in the country. Like, golfing wasn't in my cards unless that would have happened. So, but like I said, that I played team sports all the way up till I really started doing that, and that was really my biggest thing, which helped out with business. And you learned a lot of life lessons on the solo stuff because you have nobody else there to pick you up. You're your own worst enemy and your own cheerleader too.
Yeah, with swimming, they have the individual events, and then they have the relays. So it's the mixture of both, like you're saying. You have your individual, and then you have your team. And so that's what I love about it. I grew up doing swim, and I've been looking forward to the day whenever my kids did it. And so now I'm like, finally.
Yeah.
I'm back in the sport I've been loving.
So the 3 older do swim right now.
Right now, yes.
The 3 younger, they're going to want to do it?
Ruby and Riker have said they want to, and I'm like, well, we got to get you out of floaties.
Oh, yeah. I'm still in float. I'm 40. I'm a terrible swimmer. I don't know why.
Which is surprising. You look like you'd be a killer swimmer. You got tall, big arms.
We were in swim lesson when we were little because we did it at the YMCA, and it was like you worked your all the way up, and I think the highest was a shark. They have different things, but so every summer we did it. I think you started out as minnows, and you just it had certain name and levels. But I mean, because my grandfather, he went every day to the YMCA and swim, so we would just go with him and we'd sign us up for classes. But yeah, we did all that, the dolphin, all that crazy stuff.
But you were big in track. You were a track star, right?
Yes.
Well, don't get her started.
Track star. That's right.
She was
It's
not.
so
Which
funny
is
though.
similar.
Yeah, which is crazy because like I was like, man, maybe one of them kids will be like a runner or something. Nope, Kenzie can't do it. She can't run. She's
Well, Bronson had got to school
I know
sports
he has
with
got
track,
to
so
school. Yeah, but I just don't know about him either.
running's terrible.
What?
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah,
I
it's bad
loved
on your
it.
knees and your hips.
What? When you're young, you don't know what you're doing, and we had a coach come down from Canada to train us. I mean, at the time, you're just listening to him, running with him, not even focused. You just listen to what he has to say. It's just crazy. I miss those days. I still work out, but I don't run like I used to.
I was the one that got in trouble in high school. We had to run a mile for PE.
And you'd be the cheater in front of everybody.
Well, but they had a hole in the fence, and anyways, we go hide in there and wait till the end, and we go like, "There's no way, Mills, you ran a 5.5 minute mile."
Yeah, I know.
That would have been me.
We
for
still.
sure.
It was crazy because, like in high school, we'd have girls like that too. It's like no way you'd be in front of me. Like get.
Oh, you just
like
got beat. You got to admit
the
it.
coaches knew that they were cheating and not running. They were probably hiding in the bushes too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dated, got engaged, got married. Boom, boom, boom. Quick. 2 years later, had kids.
And then another kid. Are y'all
It's kind of a
done?
blur after that.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless God
That's what-
blesses us.
That's
with
what I said.
another
I
one,
said
we're done.
Chelsea's been
magic.
pregnant half her damn life.
Yeah, it's like
Pregnant
Danielle was
and/or
pregnant for
nursing.
18 months. Chelsea's been pregnant for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
A long time.
2 was enough for me. Like, heaven forbid if I would have had a third, I probably would have ended up with twins or something. That's what me and Ashley said. Like, just knowing our luck, we would have ended up with triplets or twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally we were going to have 3, and it's like,
Well,
well,
we
let's
talked-
have 4.
Yeah, we talked 4 to 6.
And then
Then you had the twins.
3 went to 5. We skipped 4.
Yeah.
We just went right over that. And
Yeah.
anybody that says after you have 3 kids, it doesn't matter how many you have. If you have twins, it does matter.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Okay, it's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, especially when you already got 3. You're like, all right, we'll try for another one. And you got twins. You're like, golly. Like,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
thank
they're
goodness there
5.
was a bigger gap between
Okay.
Barrett and the twins than between Skylar and Mariella and Barrett. All 3 of them are really close together.
Yeah.
So that helped, having a little bit more of a gap.
I mean, just having the third, if you got 2 adults and 3 kids, one of the kids is not going to get grabbed.
See, that's
Like
how
when
we
they run
that's how we
off.
looked at it too. It's like, all right, we definitely want 2, maybe 3, but then it's like,
I never said
all
3.
right.
I always said 2.
I mean, I just thinking back in my head, if we were to have a third one, but at the end of the day, you're like, all right, I can grab one, you can grab one. So if you had a third one, it'd be like, all right,
We can
Fend
play.
for yourself.
We can play man. We're not playing zone like you guys.
Yeah, man on man.
Yeah, I mean, we got it. I mean, it's a lot.
I remember when we were pregnant with our third, because the first 3 we let be a surprise, and he was like, all right, this third one comes out. If it's a girl, we're done.
I'm not the Busbys. I can't.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, it's a boy. Okay, we can keep going.
good gracious.
Yeah, no kidding. So let's talk about your wedding. So we talked. So you guys were both. What religion were you guys growing up? What are you?
Baptist.
Baptist. Okay. So your wedding, you said there was no dancing.
No, we had dancing.
You were able to dance.
We
okay.
did.
We had to have the reception off site because if it was at the church, we could not dance.
Yeah.
It's like Footloose.
Yeah.
Very
So-
similar. Right here in League City. Footloose.
Yeah.
So what made y'all decide to have the reception somewhere else and dance?
Well,
'Cause I'm a dancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like dancing.
Okay.
yeah, she went to Sam Houston and they had those country, what is it, shenanigans?
Shenanigans, yeah.
Shenasties.
Yeah, we called it schnapps.
So being
Las
that y'all were
Vegas.
raised up Baptist and stuff, that was okay for you to go celebrate and dance at your wedding at reception?
Well, you were only, I don't know if you weren't fully Baptist your whole
Yeah.
growing up. You were Methodist.
Well,
you went
we
to
were
Methodist, church a
Methodist
little bit.
whenever I was like baby, but I grew up in the Baptist church.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of non-Baptist. I've been 100% Baptist since I was born.
So did you dance?
I didn't know how to dance at all. So leading up to the wedding,
I don't understand how people don't have rhythm because like Adam doesn't have rhythm either. Like, how do you not just feel the beats of the music?
'cause
Dude, I
people
was
are
a kid.
different.
I was a kid growing up, going to school dances.
Not me. I
would
love
come home
to dance.
drenched. My dad was like, "Dude, you been dancing all night?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was.
That's how I was in
All night.
college. I didn't know how to two-step till I went to college. So my buddies taught me how, and I stayed out on the dance floor all night long. So John, he saw that one night.
Yeah, she danced with some other guy when we went out, and she's like, "Oh, I'll dance with this guy." I'm like, "Okay, this
It was my buddy from college who met us there, and I introduced you.
So I start dancing with my buddy from college.
Well,
here we go again. A guy again. You want to be dancing with the guy?
I didn't have any guy friends.
Okay.
Hey, so in Louisiana, in middle school, we had PE. They taught us all the line dances, and we did that in school. Like they taught us the freeze and all those, in my home at my school.
Really?
So we learned all those. Like I knew all those as a kid because they taught us those in school.
That's cool.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
We did.
My mom didn't teach me anything in homeschool.
Yeah, I know.
And you turned out very smart. You worked for NASA.
I did work for NASA, but it was totally a God thing because I went through a prodigal son phase, like I talked about earlier, and I was living in not the best situation in my friend's mom's garage after I got kicked out for partying with a bunch of underage girls on homecoming night. It was a crazy night. I chose to move away, and then when I finally had that moment of, all right, Mom and Dad, will you forgive me? I want to move back in. I'm tired of the life I'm living. Within, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, one of their friends in small group who worked at NASA was like, "Hey, I heard your son's mechanically inclined. There's a job opening. Come and see. I'll apply. I'll put in a good word for him." So I went from living in a garage. 6 months later, I'm working at NASA, training astronauts with, it was just insane just how quickly
Your life turned
around.
Yeah.
And then I think, this was back in 2005 or 6. Whenever they were giving loans to anybody, I'd been working at NASA for 3-4 months, and they
that's why the house of boom crashed in 08.
And that's when you bought your house?
I bought my house, right before the crash. It was not the perfect timing, but it was right before the 08 crash. I think in 06. So they were giving loans to anybody at the time. I had maybe 5 months of paychecks from NASA, and they approved me for a house loan. It was great. But yeah, it was how quickly my life turned around. So that was. I guess in 2006, and then 3 years of just trying to find that special someone, and just not being myself. It was the worst. So if you're out there,
trying to be somebody you weren't didn't get you anything.
It's like the meaner I treated the girls, the more they liked it. It was really weird. It was just so.
It's like you see in the movies.
Yeah,
Like, man, you got to act like a jerk to be, Well, I'll tell you this. That's how I got Crystal. I was a jerk.
He was like you weren't a jerk, but you like to tease and pick. Like sometimes you were a jerk.
He hadn't changed.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes you still can't. I wouldn't say jerk. I would say dick.
That's much better.
Yeah. That's very better.
But you know what? I put up with it because maybe I like that flirtiness,
I mean, that's just how I interact with people. That's how it would say everybody.
Yeah.
It's been that way.
Dale does it in a really nice way. Like, even though he gives me a lot of crap, I know that it's all fun.
Yeah.
Vaughn, I'm not so sure about.
No, yeah. I mean, that's just how I don't know. You gotta, if you do it while you're laughing and joking, people's like, you're being funny,
Yeah.
Don't sting as bad, I guess. Maybe. Gotta give Max much stuff, so I kind of make up for him. Like, here, much buying his love.
Yeah. Whole outfit here.
Yeah.
So y'all decided, fast forward a couple years, you decide, okay, did y'all talk about, okay, hey, we're going to plan to have kids, or was it just one of the things where...
Well, whenever we were dating, we talked a lot about this beforehand and make sure we were on the same page. We talked about kids,
You talked about a big family?
Yeah,
4 or 6,
I just had me and my brother, and then my cousin ended up moving in with us, but I always dreamed of having a big family, and he came from a big family, and I just loved it whenever he brought me around and just seeing them all together and all the kids, grandkids running around, and it was just like, I want that.
Yeah.
And so we knew before we got married how many kids we wanted. Like we said, 4 to 6, and we were like, let's wait 2 years. And right before our second wedding anniversary, we found out I was pregnant. And so it was just like, perfect.
Yeah.
All a part of God's plan.
Yeah, we were together 4 years before we had our first kid.
Yeah, because we were young.
We started dating 19,
Yeah.
got married at 24.
Yeah. And I was done by 30, and I wanted to be done by 30, so.
Yeah, and we knew we were going to, we were like, all right, two's
plenty.
it.
Yeah.
and it all worked. Yeah, same way. Talk about God's plan. Like, it's all about how we met. I knew that I wanted to be with her. We've been together for this long.
Yeah,
everything's always been good. We had our. You go through the young phases of being married with jealousy, the dumb stuff that you go through just being young. I mean, we were young dating, going out and partying.
Yeah,
that brings a whole nother level of chaos.
So he did all that.
Yeah, we went out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean,
So you were a server at the time.
Yeah.
For a few of those years, and I worked.
You supported me that whole time.
Yeah, if you're working at restaurants, I had a roommate when I was going through my prodigal son phase. That guy partied every night.
Yeah, that's just, when you're in that industry, that's just what they do. I mean, everybody you let loose.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, everybody's gone partying, and so we did a lot of that. Got that out of our system. We still like to have a good time, but we did a lot of that early on together.
Yeah,
which was good.
Because then when our best friends had their baby, that's when we start talking about, all right, we're getting pregnant.
Yeah. Then then we went through our deal and had our first kid, and so. First kid will change a lot, man. How much did it change y'all's life when you first had your... Well, Skylar's your oldest, right?
Yeah, Skylar's the oldest. I don't know.
Well, at the time, I think a lot of our friends were starting to have kids or already had them.
We were the first ones to start having kids, right?
Yeah, except for Curtis and Christy got pregnant like on their honeymoon.
Yeah, they got pregnant on their honeymoon.
They got married last and then got pregnant
first.
Oh,
man.
It was funny.
Yeah, their son was born in December, and then Skylar was born in May, so we were kind of pregnant at the same time. But yeah, I don't feel like it changed too much. We didn't let having a baby change us too much. We just kept doing what we wanted to do. We weren't very strict on, she has to go to bed at this time.
Yeah, see, that's how we were. It's like, I mean, that first probably few months. Yeah, I mean, we did have a routine.
Yeah, but we didn't let kids change our life.
Right,
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, she has to be. We can't go anywhere because she's napping at noon and she's taking an afternoon nap.
Our kid be napping in a Target.
That was us.
Basket.
I mean,
if we go somewhere, she's falling. She just stays in the.
But we were young, had kids. Our friends had kids, so we did everything with our
them.
kids.
Yeah,
that was us.
Even we're hanging out, having some drinks. Everybody had their kids. It's a Louisiana. I mean, it's probably here too, but Louisiana thing. Everybody's hanging out at a backyard. We're barbecuing a boiling crawfish, hanging out, and the kids are all playing. And their kids are. We've been here 8 years, but every time they come in or we go to them, they're like best friends, like straight off the jump again. It's like they had no time missed because they've been together since birth. A lot of them. So, which is cool. I mean, that's the fun thing. You talk about the big family stuff. Crystal had a big family, and I didn't come from a big family that was like always together doing the stuff. So when I got with her, I fell in love with her family because I seen that. I was like, oh man, I didn't have like the big Christmases, the big stuff they did. Like that was really fun.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, I wish I'd had that growing up. And so, in being that, luckily for the 3 couples of us, we got 10 kids between us, so we got
so that's a big family.
We got
thanks Danielle.
Yeah, so we got a big family between us. But it makes it fun for them to grow up with each other.
And we were, I mean, us 3 sisters were always close. We never got in a spat where we didn't talk to each other. We just always just been close, always together. So it was funny when all the husbands, brother-in-laws get together. They work together. They just didn't understand why we always wanted to be together. But that's all we just growing up. That's all we were just all together with our cousins. And just it was they had to understand their cousins. They all want to be together.
Yeah. Well, it's like his older 2 siblings. They have kids close in age to each other. And then me and him got married, and then his younger brother got married a couple years after us. And his girls and our kids are around the same age. So it's like the older ones are together, and then the 2 younger kids, all the cousins are together. And so they love hanging out.
Yeah, shout out Misty. Thanks for watching the kids tonight. Yeah, my sister-in-law is watching her.
Yeah, she brought her 2 girls over.
Oh, we got 8 kids in the dang house.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
She's watching all 8 right now.
She's used to having just 2 girls.
Yeah.
She got the short straw.
Yeah, my parents and my sister weren't available tonight, so.
Yeah, it was just like going down the list. Who's available?
Yeah.
So what, so besides being in Switzerland where you're like, okay, you're early, like you said, you couldn't go off and do anything because you're there. What are the things that y'all learned early on in your relationship that's carried on throughout, do you think, as far as it's helped out with, you guys been together a long time, got 6 kids. There's a lot of stresses with that that are tough on marriages already.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things was I took Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University class when I was young, in my early 20s. And right after we got married, we did the class together because I had done it separate before we got married. But then just the focusing on discussing finances beforehand, and this is something that I've heard y'all talk a lot about, but I remember hearing that the biggest fights and arguments come from
a lot of it was money,
finances. Yeah. And I was like, well, if we can just figure out a way to avoid having that fight, then that's like half the battle right there. So you just discuss it beforehand. And what our very first argument was over money. Like when we first started dating,
You hadn't even proposed yet. It was right before he was going to propose. This happened.
So just to fast forward a little, or to rewind, before I was going to propose, I wanted to see how she decorated the house. So I had her come over to my house and was like, what would you do if you were going to decorate the house? Because a lot of my friends' wives have terrible tastes. Y'all, you know who you are. And I don't like the way they decorate houses. So I was like, I want to see what her styles are. I approved of that. And then I was like, all right, next step is to talk about finances. So we started talking about debt, and she had, I don't know, $2,000 or $3,000
No, I
debt.
had $1,400.
Yeah.
$1,400 in
You know,
debt.
so it wasn't much, but I was like, you can't have this credit card debt. I don't want to be burdened, even though I had like a $100,000 mortgage. I was like, I can't be burdened with this debt.
Oh, my
Yeah, he
gosh.
basically told me, we're not
I had-
getting married till you have this paid off.
I had school debt, so yeah.
I didn't have school debt, but that was my only debt. But
But come to find out, the debt was from her paying for a
31st wedding anniversary party surprise for my parents.
She put an anniversary party on her credit card for her parents, for like as a thank you for college.
Yeah.
Well, her parents did a lot for her, so I mean,
Yeah.
she's just repaying him.
I know. I felt horrible after I was like, I was like, how dare you have this debt?
I ain't married
My
you,
God,
Jezebel, and all
Magnus,
this money.
for
all
$1,400
this
bucks.
baggage.
Get out.
But I mean, I understood, and I didn't want to have debt going into marriage either. And so we sat down and was like, okay, we're getting married in October, so we want to have it paid off by September. And I think I had it paid off by August.
Yeah, because she was spending about $700 a month on boots at the time. I was like, you could put that money. She worked at Boot Barn or Baskin. It was
Baskins at
Yeah.
the time, but now
So-
it's Boot Barn.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
got
so we had to pay for our
some
wedding
boots.
ourselves, and so we did it all on our own.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like I talked about this before. We had a lot of debt early on dating. I didn't grow up knowing about, I heard my grandpa say, hey, save your money. I don't listen to that. I was a shopper. She was a shopper.
Still are.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And we went through our, luckily for us, none of this was like stresses on our marriage. And we had stresses from it. But I think that's what made us stronger too. We've gotten through a lot of stuff together to where we're like, it'd be times where she's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, just trust me, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it always kind of figured itself out. It always worked its way out. God had plans or whatever. Things would work themselves out. It's a terrible way to live sometimes when you think of like, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to figure it
I
out.
know, yeah.
Because I'm still like that about a lot of things. It's just how I've always like flown by the seat of my pants with everything I do. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And luckily she's like blind faith. She's like, all right, whatever. But that's kind of been our relationship. I ain't saying that I wouldn't be the blueprint for people, but it's worked for us.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my kids to go through that. Trust me. Like,
Right.
But you live and you learn.
No.
And then you screw up again and you live and you learn.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, it hasn't been perfect, but just having the discussion before it becomes a problem was the biggest thing, was just having those difficult conversations about money early. It saves you so much more, because if you don't talk about it, it's going to come up. If you've got debt and that interest is piling up and you're not talking to your spouse about it and they don't know about it, that's a huge issue. Those are the fights. I thought like everybody just fought about money all the time. It's when people are deceptive or they have spending habits they don't want to talk about. That's the big issue. Just talking about it ahead of time. It's not, people get so emotional about money. Take the emotion out of it. Talk about it ahead of time. Like the other day you were asking, like, what do y'all do on dates? Or I think Vaughn was like curious about what we do on dates. We talk about the future and plan ahead and go, okay, we're going to have a cruise in November and December. So we figure out how much we pay on the cruise and just put that much money aside each month so that whenever you go to pay for the cruise, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised whenever something you put on the calendar arrives.
Yeah.
It's been there.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Like I said, there's a lot of young people that that don't do that, and even older people. I mean, we don't do that still.
But you're right. Worrying about it doesn't help.
No,
Just stressing about it, worrying doesn't. I mean, it's not going to help. Figure out a solution. Figure out something. You're not going to figure it out by worrying about it.
Yeah,
Just thinking about it and worrying just is going to make it worse.
So what was your biggest challenge with y'all early on? Was it whenever y'all started having multiple kids? Did that bring a lot more, or you feel like you were prepared for that?
I think kind of having Mariella and Barrett so close, because I think they were like 15 months apart. They were almost kind of like having twins.
Okay.
Everyone thought they were because Barrett was so big. And Mariella was just teeny tiny.
Yeah.
People thought they were twins. It's like, no, they're not twins. But then we actually had twins later. So, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal for me, I don't think, having the twins.
Did y'all have a lot of help?
Well, I mean, our moms were there after, like, our moms have always been there for all the births.
Yeah, and they didn't move up to Huntsville till later. So I think, when your parents were still living down in the League City area, they were able to help a lot more.
No, they were up in Huntsville because when we
twins?
evacuated for Harvey, I was pregnant with the twins. So they were already up in Huntsville.
Oh, wow. They've been up there a while.
Yeah, but they would come over and help out and just be with me and help John with the other kids, especially when we started having more and more. They knew we needed help around the house because, like, he would be focused on helping me with the kids because, I mean, after you go through birth, you got a recovery period, and I can't do a whole lot, so...
So the three oldest, have they been homeschooled ever since they've been school age?
No. So
No.
we did was it preschool, pre-K with
Skylar did pre-K
Well, it's
at a
private.
church.
Yeah, private.
And then she did kindergarten, first and second grade in public school. And then Mariella did pre-K at our church and did kindergarten. And
Okay.
then COVID.
And that's when you started?
Yeah, and then it was just like, Skylar was having issues with bullies picking on her. And like in kindergarten, a girl called her name over on the playground where the teachers couldn't see. And Skylar ran over and she threw a rock at Skylar, hit her in the forehead and made her bleed.
Gah.
And school didn't even call me.
Whoa.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
the teachers didn't see it.
The teachers didn't see it. The
We
school
can't
didn't
see their
call me.
foreheads.
And Skylar didn't want to get her friend in trouble.
We've always told our kids, you be nice to everybody. You be
Right.
try and be friends with everybody. Don't exclude anybody. Don't make fun of anybody. Be a good person. And so she's like, I want to be friends with this person because you told me I need to be nice. And she had issues with this little girl in because I mean they were same grade. In like first grade, she was in her class and she'd be like, if you don't give me this, Skylar, I'm not going to be your friend. And so Skylar would come home not having all of her stuff. And I'm like, where'd your stuff go? Oh, well, so-and-so said if I wanted her to be friends, I had to give it to her. And I was like, that's not a friend.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't do that. And so I was just like, I was done. And then in second grade, she was having really bad issues with the teacher. And I was just sick of it. And I was just like, thank you, Lord, for bringing her home and us just finally being like, okay, we're going to homeschool. We don't have to deal with this anymore.
So how was that adjustment going to homeschool? I mean, I know y'all came from homeschooling, but how different was that with your lives when the kids are there all the time? You don't get a break.
Yeah.
No, and do you still have a routine where they get up, get dressed?
I try to. I try to, like, especially on our co-op days, we have a schedule.
Yeah.
Because they have to get up and we have to leave by a certain time to be on time. But on the days that we're at home, it's more lax. It's kind of like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. Let's get up. Let's eat some breakfast. Let's start school about 10 a.m. And we do the review and everything. And if they stay focused, we're done by lunch. And then they eat lunch, and then the girls have their...
I just could not do it. I had a hard time during COVID. It was stressing me out. I was crying. Like, this is ridiculous. Then kind of found out it was just busy work, and the teachers weren't really that crazy about it. You know, it was like in the day, if you're the internet would go down because so many people were logging on at the same time. It's just like, whatever. Then I got to a point where it's like, you know what? If you're not on it for a couple of days, it is what it is. Like, what you going to do?
Did you want to be a teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have done it.
No.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
See, I thought I wanted to be a teacher,
Lord.
and I substituted at our old high school, and I was like, no, I can't do this. And then whenever we had Skylar and she was getting older to be in school age, we had talked about homeschooling because where we live, we don't like the school district. It's not that great. And whenever it came time for kindergarten, I was just like having a panic attack because I was like, I don't think I'm going to be good enough. She's going to fall behind. I'm not going to be able to do this. And I was like crying to him. I was like, we can't homeschool. We just need to put her in public
Just
school.
quit,
I can't
give up.
do this.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
does someday,
John's last word.
someday does Daddy take over? Huh? Does Daddy take over sometimes?
Sometimes, like
the
whenever,
principal.
yeah,
You're the
whenever
principal.
there's stuff that I'm
enforcer.
like, I can't, like, I'm not really good at English and writing. And Skylar and Mariella have been, they're what's called essentials, which is kind of like junior high, where they're more focused on writing and Latin and that kind of stuff. And I'll be like, go ask Daddy. Or I'll even have his mom. She's like really good at English.
Yeah.
I'll be like, call Nana.
Yeah.
She's the grammar
and,
Nazi.
and have her help you. So, and that's another thing with homeschooling is like we have so many other
There's a lot of resources.
avenues for people to help out with our children. And,
That's
and
good.
like in our co-ops, the parents are the tutors. Like they take turns teaching classes and doing stuff.
Yeah. Shout out Classical Conversations. Yeah, we did Obeka our first year or two.
Our first year we did Alpha Omega, which was like too simple. The kids were just like flying through it, and it was like they're not really learning anything. And then
They were young though.
we were
This is different programs or something?
Yeah, there's different there's
Curriculums.
tons of
There's
different
lots of
curriculum for homeschool, and a lot of people like pick and choose what they want from each curriculum and put it together themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, just give me the full list and tell me what to do. I don't have time to do all that stuff. And so we did Abeka our second year, which was just like school at home, like public school. They were doing school for 8 hours. I was like,
Oh, wow.
this is not homeschool.
And they were all learning completely different things.
Yeah.
And they all had to have their iPad computer
Computer,
logins. And
yeah.
So they were all just sitting there with headphones on, watching the screens. I was like, this isn't working. But Classical Conversations, all the kids, age groups, learn the exact same things at the same time. So we're not having to like jump. All right, what are you learning about over here? Oh, okay. Oh, you got to change gears and go, what are you learning over here to help tutor them? Yeah. They're all learning the same thing so they can kind of feed off of each other. Everything's to song pretty much, which is great.
Yeah,
You can memorize all the stuff, and then they're creating a foundation. They call it foundations.
Yeah, they're,
So you're creating like a basic foundation of knowledge so that you just instantly can recall that information later. Like
Yeah.
it
Well,
seems silly to teach kids Latin, but so much of English is based on Latin.
Well, it's like the twins. They're 6 years old, and last year was their first year in at 5. They know the times table already, all the way up to 15 because of the songs and Classical Conversations.
Oh, wow.
So they sing it all the time. Just I'll hear them singing
Ruby
the
sings all
songs.
day.
But
She's like Crystal. She's a singer.
but I like now the Classical Conversations and the Bay Pack, which is what his sister started, which is the performing arts. And so they get their art and their drama and their musicality, like singing and instruments at that one. So
Yeah, and it's great to expose kids to all the different kinds of arts. Most of the schools, like whenever we were growing up in the Bay Area, they didn't have all of the resources. So these homeschool co-ops actually have a much more vast resource, I feel. Like my sister, who runs the Bay Area Performing Arts Co-op, she was a music director. She went to college for a long time. I've come from a very musical family. So just exposing the kids and putting a group of people together, like Mariella's doing violin, Skylar's a whiz on guitar. She's picking it up so fast. Barrett just got into percussion, and they have drama. So it's cool for homeschool kids to get exposed to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
the stigma you think about homeschool, you don't think about the other things
Well,
they're
it's
learning.
crazy that like
Yeah, Bond.
we're in school, like the kids are in school, like you said, for 8 hours. But it's funny with homeschool, they can get their work done in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trey graduated
You know?
early, didn't he?
It's so crazy.
no, he graduated on time.
Well, I thought for some reason, I thought he was like way ahead or something, because you can basically go at your own pace. A lot of the homeschool kids I knew graduated and they're like 16 years old.
Well, and some of the homeschool kids, like I know Allie did this, I believe. She did the dual credit because like they'll go to college and the colleges will let homeschool kids do the dual credit. So whenever they graduate high school, they have their associate's degree already.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well. I was going to ask about that. How does that work for college? I'm sure it's a lot better now with these curriculums they have. They're more prepared.
Yeah,
and it's more acknowledged with colleges.
Accredited. Yeah, back in the day, if you didn't transfer by 8th grade, because you had to have certain things like you had to have Texas history, which if you live in Texas, you got to take Texas history in 7th and 8th grade, I believe. And a lot of us, like we both got transferred to private school in 8th grade because there was it was really difficult for kids to get into college if they
didn't have these
if you didn't have all these prerequisites and you didn't have accreditation properly, and homeschooling was illegal. You know, in the 70s, I don't even think it became legal until the 80s or something.
So how were you prepared for college from homeschool? How did that?
Well, I went to
she was honors. She was beta club. She was
I didn't
top of the class.
I didn't graduate from homeschool. We graduated from Bay Area Christian.
Okay. So you did. Okay. So you were.
Yeah, I went into Bay Area at 8th grade, but I mean, whenever I first went in, the teachers were like, "Oh, well, she needs to be in 9th grade. Because she's so far advanced." But I did Abeka at home. My mom bought the video set, and so like I would watch the VHS at home and have a teacher teach me. And so I was already doing the Abeka curriculum whenever we went to Bay Area, and that's the same curriculum that they use. So they were like, "Let's just put her up," and my mom and dad were like, "No. We want to make sure she's got everything down." And so I stayed in the correct grade I was supposed to. But yeah, I graduated. I mean, our school was very small, but I graduated with a 8.5, I think.
3.85.
I don't remember.
The GPA?
Yeah, 3.8 something. So I was up there, but I was still third quarter of my class.
Yeah, there's a lot of geniuses.
We had a lot of smart people in my class. So
I barely graduated. They wanted to get me out of there. I was a class clown.
Just move them on.
They're like, dude, this kid does not care about school.
He's going to be in prison or CEO.
I was there for the social aspect.
Yeah, so I graduated in the top part of class. If I had been in a public school, I would have been in the top 10%. And I almost told my parents to transfer me to Clear Creek High School so that I could be in the top 10% and go to any college I wanted, because I couldn't get a high enough ACT score to get in. Like I kept getting denied from all the colleges because I didn't make a high enough score. So I ended up just going to San Jack my first 2 years. Yeah. Got my associates there.
Yeah, I remember. Speaking of class ranking, I think Melissa, now Lonsford, she ended up. She should have been in top class. She was the third in our class, but she was in the top 10% and couldn't get into the top schools because
that's crazy.
The class was 31, I think. So she just barely missed the 10%. Mm-hmm. She would have been 11 or 12 percentile.
Really?
I remember hearing that. It was like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Her husband got kicked out, and he ended up being like way up in the top of the class his senior year.
Yeah.
So how do y'all manage? So with 6 kids now, how do y'all manage your marriage? Far as like
getting
your time. Like I said, you're in a home with 6 kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you manage?
To find time for y'all.
We don't find time. We have to schedule it.
Yeah, we have to schedule it.
And I will say, shout out to Tommy and Diane. We started doing walks. It's like 95 degrees right now, so it's we're like, when are we gonna walk when it's not?
We haven't done a walk in a while.
Yeah, we walked a little bit like maybe last week, but since it's been in the 90s, it's hard to get out there in the afternoon. But we were going on 20-minute walks. We got a new cell phone provider. We got a third phone, so we use our new house phone as a baby monitor. So we just walk around the neighborhood, spend some quiet time alone together, which I hadn't been prioritizing. We used to go on dates all the time. Whenever we had 1 or 2 kids, it was easy to do dates.
Yeah.
It's so good to do that, though. Not like maybe, for y'all's case, like once a month,
That's
just
what
to be able to
try.
just get out and just...
Yeah.
Have
Once
some pure adult time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once Skylar's a little bit more mature, because she's probably old enough to babysit.
I started babysitting at 12 infants.
Just sometimes the siblings have a hard time listening to, because like, for example, like Blake, every now and then she'll watch her sister, but sometimes they just don't listen. So that's when Danielle will call like Lily or Mackenzie come over because they'll listen to them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because sometimes
you
you
don't
don't
want to listen to your sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, Skylar, she'll be staring at the TV or playing on the iPad or something, and the house will be on fire. Oh.
I know. She keeps saying, I want to be a babysitter. I'm like, not if you can't pay attention. I'm like, as soon as the screen is on, you're gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to stop that. But she's getting better. She is being a big helper.
Yeah, she's very
So what do y'all do for your typical dates if y'all get out?
Well, we got to be back home early because my parents are in their late 80s or something like that, 90s.
Late
What?
Oh, early 70s. Sorry.
Jesus.
70s.
Sorry, Mom.
I'm like 90s.
70s.
I'm like,
No.
yeah, they can't handle 6 kids.
Golly, Magnus.
No.
No, I'm just messing with you, Mom. I know she's gonna watch this.
Okay.
But no, that we try not to stay out too late. I remember we had to do. Was it one of the Houston Treasures dinners or social book things?
Probably.
And we came home at like 10:30. My dad
Was
was
pissed.
Was this past his bedtime?
Oh man, yeah. He used to go to bed, watch the news and go to sleep. I guess the news is on earlier now.
It's at 9 now.
Because my goodness, he was like, his eyes were shut. But I mean, he wakes up at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, he gets up really early.
He need to quit getting up so early.
But now that we know whenever we're going to be out late like that, if it's like on a Friday night and there's nothing the next day,
They stay
like
at
if
night.
it's not church,
Or my
the
mom will
kids
come over to our house.
Because will they go to sleep though?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've been over there before and had spent the night.
No,
there.
I'm saying no. Like if you think you're gonna be out late and your parents they'll know. Hey, y'all go to sleep. Settle down.
Well, dude,
If they're at our
grandparents
house,
let the
yes.
kids get away with murder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
We fed them chocolate for dinner instead. Is that okay?
but yeah, but now that my parents are, like he mentioned earlier, whenever my parents are gone, used to, whenever they were in town, we would
Split
swap
'em? Okay,
with my mom and dad, and so we were able to go out a lot more often.
Boys and girl.
Well, now whenever we want, like he's saying on our cruise, we have to send half the kids to my parents and half to the to his.
Well, 6 kids is a lot for anybody, especially when they're 90.
I can handle it.
But yeah, so I mean,
'cause you
we
have
try
to.
to once
Yeah,
a month
pretty
at
much,
least have a date night.
Yeah.
And I don't think we got one in the month of May because his parents were gone on a cruise and then came in town and then went back out of town. And then my parents were out of town. So unfortunately, we didn't get one in May, but we'll make it happen in June.
Yeah, May was a crazy month. May just flew by.
Yeah.
This year's been flying by.
But we do try to, I mean, even in the evenings, whenever we finally get all the kids down for bed, we kind of just chill together and just be next to each other.
Watch
That's
John
all
play
I-
Fortnite.
Exactly. Oh my
Maybe.
gosh.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes, whenever they have too many people in the party, I'll hang out with my wife.
Yeah.
When they don't have room.
He
for
has
me to
told
play with
him. He has told him before, "Hey, I'm going to spend some time with my wife," and he'll come out in the living room and we'll fall asleep on the couch watching a movie.
Big softy.
But I'll just tell, hey, text me and I'll jump back on if a spot opens up.
Yeah, as soon as she closes her eyes, I'll be up.
Let me know where we're going to drop.
I have been laying there with my arm here, and she'll fall asleep on my shoulder, and then I could see the screen party invite, and I'm like, trying to,
And then I wake up and I'm like, "Where'd he go?"
It's funny.
60 white. All right, I got him. He's one shot. Let's go, guys.
Oh,
gosh.
Lord.
Wakes her up sometimes.
He's addicted now.
It's a great game.
He's gotten the
he says
kids
he plays
into it.
He plays in your room.
Yeah, he
So
plays in our room.
You can pass out.
Yeah. I mean, I just
try to
roll
whisper.
over so that my face isn't facing the
So,
TV.
as besides his name change, is there any changes in Magnus since he's been hanging out with me and Vaughn? Is he any different?
He's pretty much the same. I mean, he's always enjoyed playing video games. Like, we bonded over Rock Band whenever
we
we
talked about
first
that.
met. And
We
we
used to play
wrote
that.
it into
So
our...
what did you play before Fortnite?
He used to do Halo
Oh, okay.
and Call of Duty. Yeah, and then it's just kind of like phases. He'll like play video games for a while, and then he's like, "All right, I'm done," and then he's not, and then something new will come out, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm back in it." But
Fortnite's not a phase.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no,
He's got the kids in it
It's a
now.
lifestyle.
No, the
yeah,
kids
Barrett's
love it.
addicted. Skylar and Mariella love it, and now Ruby and Riker are getting into it, and they're like, "Mommy, can we play Fortnite?" And I'm like, "I don't know how to work that."
Yeah, you
Get
use
your
code
dad.
Magnus at checkout.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
I know
No.
nothing about those games.
No, you've been with us for about a year now, a little over a year.
Yeah, I think we started December of 2 years ago.
I know one thing,
whatever.
big change. Y'all went carnivore recently,
Yes.
Yeah.
I just
and
recently did Carnival.
I know Magnus dropped quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, he's doing great.
I think I'm down about 50 pounds since we started working together. So I can finally fit into some nicer clothes.
Yeah, I've been outfitting Magnus for a while now.
Yeah, it looks
Much
good.
appreciated.
Clothes, shoes.
Yep. Sometimes I can't leave the house whenever I put on some of these clothes.
Not lie.
Hey, we got 6 kids. We get it. Like
You say.
I'm talking about.
Oh,
They
okay.
got 6. I said they got 6 kids.
Yeah.
It was an accident, folks.
Practice.
But yeah, so like I said, I was just kind of curious if
Yeah, date nights are rough. They're difficult, but like I said, once Skylar's a little bit older, a little more mature, and we have a couple dozen nanny cams constantly updating us with making sure the house isn't on fire. Like the other day, I came out and Skylar had left the burner on. She was making grilled cheese and burnt the crap out of some bread.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I was
gosh.
like, man, if
She left the griddle on.
no,
See,
I
we are-
think she turned the griddle off, but she just left the bread on there.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, thank
Okay.
God you turned it off.
See,
Yeah.
like, so whenever
Caught
we
on
started
fire.
leaving ours by themselves, when Kenzie was older, we always just told them, stay out the kitchen. You can't use the microwave. You can't use a stove. You can use the refrigerator. You can get snacks out the cabinet, but you cannot touch those things.
we
because,
were thankful for DoorDash.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
easy.
No, I did a video shoot one time down at the Shriners Burn ward, and you walk around there and look at kids completely bandaged head to foot. I was sick. I called Chelsea while we were still there. I was like, check the smoke alarm batteries, because this is the most horrific thing. Most people probably never think about, their kids getting injured or themselves getting burned, but man, it's when you see it, it's scary.
Yeah, because we had Kenzie with the babysitter one time. She's like, hey, can I make mac and cheese? We're like, sure, Well, so
In the microwave.
In the microwave. Well, they go to put the thing in the microwave, and they go end up playing it. 'Cause,
She didn't put water in it.
she didn't put water in it.
So my house smelled like burnt crap for like 2 weeks. I
Oh
was-
my God, we walked in.
Every day
had to clean-
every day I'd walk in, I'd get pissed off
We
again.
had to
at her.
clean that microwave, and it was all black. Oh my God, it was
So-
terrible. We're like, what happened? I was like, how did y'all
babysitter
not?
did
Apparently, they must have put it in the microwave, and I guess they just set it and forgot about it. And they must have put it more than 3 hours and 30 seconds.
minutes.
It must have been 3 hours. I don't know.
No, Skylar did that one time. She's
done it a
making
couple times.
Ramen noodles or
Ramen
something like that
noodles.
and forgot to put water in. Oh, dude, that
Oh
smell.
no, it's terrible. It's so
Yeah.
Days.
I remember, speaking of burns, I remember one time on accident, I'd made breakfast and I slid it off of a burner because we have an electric stovetop. And I went into the room to get John, tell him, oh, breakfast is ready. And this was when Mariella was little, and she had pushed a chair over and put her hand right on top of the
Ow.
burner. And it was bad. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad, and we put ice on it immediately.
Yeah.
But it was just a quick
touch.
And oh my gosh, that scared me so bad. And so like ever
My
since
heart started
then,
beating just remembering that.
yeah, I think that's the worst thing we've had happen with a kid being.
Did any
burned.
of them get into like the scissor thing where you cut your own hair?
No,
Riker
Okay.
cut Ruby's hair.
Oh wow.
and I think it was Barrett, like almost cut his finger off the other day messing with scissors. We put him
And
away.
Guyver
He's
got
left-handed.
scissors.
Oh, that's right, Guyver.
And he got up in the cabinet and got it. And Skylar said he was like swinging it around.
Oh, my gosh.
And he
Oh,
cut his
yeah.
cheek open. And like this was after he had already like gashed his other cheek from accidentally going up underneath.
Yeah, underneath
the
that car, I remember that.
And
Because I
it
brought
was
y'all
just
some
like-
butterflies.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
saved the day.
on that one, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, so he looked like the Joker, but it's finally like healed up and you can barely see it now. But Guyver
Kids are resilient.
Yeah, Guyver
So-
is the one that has like gotten hurt the most, I think, out of all of our kids.
He's a
And-
sixth kid. He's like, you forget about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So many of them, you're like, oh, we got a sixth kid. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so
he's
being
rough.
so being that you had that many, like your first when you're like, all right, second with that, then did it get Did you lessen
Get
up?
lazier.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
take less pictures.
Oh, yeah.
We have the photo stream going up, and Skylar's all like, "Oh, I'm in this picture. I'm in this picture." It's like we have 6 pictures of Guyver. We have thousands of pictures of Skylar.
Yeah, because she was the first.
Yeah. And she's been around the longest. So I'll try to explain. It's not because we love you less. It's just because she's,
Around first.
first baby. You take pictures. I'm going through my phone just deleting them. I'm like, I don't want a picture like this. There's, it's not a good picture. The lighting's bad. I'm just
Blurry.
deleting them all.
Bad.
I'm like, why was I taking these pictures?
First kid.
Yeah.
So, would you say communication been a big key of y'all's marriage for a long time? It seems like y'all do communicate and talk a lot. Y'all, like you said, y'all talk about like a date night. Y'all talk about. He'd say y'all talk about short term, long term goals. Y'all do a lot of that.
Yeah, communication's huge. We did, Bobby and Suzette Vitchitz. I think we talked about Bob. He worked at, was he with AB Networks?
Yeah, he was there with me and Danielle.
They did our premarital counseling, and I'm just real thankful that they were tough on us. They were not gonna just sign the paperwork because we didn't do premarital counseling with our pastor. They send that out to elders of the church, and they went through this whole long. I mean, how many weeks was that? It was like 8 weeks.
It was long.
Yeah, it's the premarital counseling went for a very long time, and I'd get texts from Bobby challenging me with stuff, and I'm very thankful. I went through my phone a while back before my other phone got destroyed, and I was just looking at old texts that he would send me, and it was just kind of cool, just remembering back that foundation where you're laying down, communicate, make sure you're just that intimacy, like Tommy and Diane talk about, just being like very open, getting that communication out, will save you so much heartache later.
Yeah.
We didn't go into any premarital things. What was that like?
It's a lot of. I mean, it's kind of standardized. So
because at the
they
time,
talk about-
I was Catholic. You're not non-denominational, so whenever I got married,
I wasn't
we didn't get married in a church. We got
wasn't even-
married at a golf course.
But I wasn't even in church.
So
when we were like, by the time I got like later in high school, I grew up in a church, Assemblies of God. Like I had to go Wednesday, Sunday morning, Sunday night. It's one of the things where I got to a point older in life, I kind of like despised it. Not against God, but like far as the church thing goes.
Yeah.
And I go to church for years, and then after we had kids, we started getting back into church, things like that. We found a church we both liked back home, but we didn't do any of that. So it wasn't something that I'm sure that can be beneficial for young couples to go through.
It really did make us talk about stuff that we might not have thought to talk about. It's just like preparing you. It's like you need to talk about finances. You need to talk about kids. You need to talk about. I even think like towards the end it was telling us to talk about sex.
Yeah.
Kind of
because it
talk
was
to
like
each other.
it was
about
leading up all the way up to
the wedding. Like
it was pretty close to the end.
They wanted to wait to do the premarital counseling, I think, till you were 2 weeks out, because then the final thing was talking about that. It's like, what are you going to expect from your spouse?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Expectations and things like that.
Yeah, and trivia. I can't remember if I ever told you this, but Chelsea and I didn't even kiss till our wedding day.
Right. I remember you saying that.
That was
What?
I floated that
we got
out
dated
there.
4 months, then boom. So yeah, that's understandable.
well,
Still,
he was the
though,
one who brought it up.
I floated out there. I was like, I don't want our relationship.
What were you thinking back? Like, damn, when is he going to kiss me?
No,
I was
like,
for
yeah.
it because I never dated anybody.
Oh, you never dated, but so
And-
you weren't thinking in the back of your head like, when is he going to kiss me? Because like that was the same thing whenever we were dating. I was like, shit.
No, when I proposed, that's when she wanted to
Yeah,
kiss
I
me.
thought he was going to kiss me whenever he proposed.
He's like,
And he did it.
No,
And
What?
he kissed my hand.
and we also
that's why he kissed my hand the other day. I was wondering
Oh my gosh,
that was about.
that's crazy.
Bible says greet your brethren with a holy kiss. Or something like that.
Oh my god, that's crazy. You were like, oh,
What Jesus said.
okay.
Well, and then like at our first look at our wedding, I thought I almost kissed him, but he was just like trying to keep me waiting.
How tough
He didn't
was
want to kiss me.
that? How tough was that to abstain from that?
I felt it was my idea. So
What
it
if
was
y'all
kinda
didn't like
easy
each
for
other's
me.
kiss when it came down to the
I
wedding?
was nervous about that. I was really nervous about our first kiss. And whenever he was like, you know what, I think I want to hold off for a while. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I'd
my
kissed, I think 2, maybe 3 other guys before that I thought I liked and thought we were going to be boyfriend, girlfriend, but never happened. So that was all I had. And so I was just like really nervous that I was going to be a bad kisser. but he said I was good.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
But what's funny is like you look in our wedding video after we're done doing the Lord's Supper, he had a stick of gum on the table. So as soon as we were done taking the Lord's Supper and praying, he's like chewing a piece of gum real fast so that he had nice fresh breath for
Shout
our
out
first
Polar
kiss.
Rice.
Oh my gosh.
We actually made Yancey blush, I think.
Oh, that was a long kiss.
You're like, all right, dude, hey.
Yeah, like that's enough. Okay, but you're like, that's why.
Well, at the time, I thought that's how you had babies, and I was like, "This is." I was like, "I'm ready."
Yeah, when's the stork show up?
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and another simple, like a little thing that I don't think we ever talked about this publicly, so I'm going to bring up on a podcast in front of a billion people.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
But we actually, we didn't use the words love beforehand because I thought that it's just an overused word that has so many, like, you might have a different idea of what love is than Dale. So if I say I love you, you might think it means something completely different. So we made up a code word that
Which was?
meant it was paperclip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Operation Paperclip. Google it.
Okay.
But anyway, paperclip. I was like, it's just a word that means things. So what I did was I talked about how I felt about her, and then when I say this is what I mean. So rather than have a preconceived notion of what love is, then it was more. I felt it was more like it was more intimate. So now anytime we're walking around the house, cleaning up the house, like yesterday.
You still
she
say
was
paperclip?
Cleaning, and she brought me a paperclip. And
Yeah, I'll find a paperclip and I'll send it to him. Or if I'm away from him and I find one, I'll take a picture and send it to him.
Yeah, my cell phone's like full of pictures of paper clips that you just, if you see one, if you work in an office, they're everywhere. So it's kind of a cool, I mean,
it's cool. It's your thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody knows that. I think it was something that was just between us. So now everybody knows.
Yeah, so we didn't say I love you or have our kiss till our wedding.
Wow,
Yep.
man!
So if you want to be married,
but whenever y'all are dating and stuff in this form, like you knew it was love.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
that's what he said. He was like,
Okay.
I don't want to say this and overuse it, and it just get lost in translation of I love you, I love you, I love you. He was like, this is what paperclip means to me, and so I was down with it. I was cool with.
Good thing it wasn't like cigarette or something.
cigarette butt.
Yeah. Somebody's
Every time
picture
I
of
see a cigarette
cigarettes.
butt, I think of it.
So do y'all have any tattoos?
No.
Y'all should get a
We joke
paperclip
about it.
tattoo.
I can
That's
do
a
it.
good idea.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's something good. Just
we
something
could-
small on your
yeah,
wrist. You like
Yeah, like our wedding day made of paper clips or something like that. I don't know.
That would be too
But
much.
I was really close to getting a tattoo, especially when Dale was going to pay for it. When he got his Dale Not Dale on his leg.
I've had a tattoo idea for a long time, and John knows if he gets one, I'm going to go get it.
There
And
you
so
go.
that's why he doesn't go get it. But mine has a meaning behind it. It's not just any old tattoo.
Yeah, mine don't mean anything. I just
well, you
get
got your
whatever.
kids.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but
Yeah.
there's some that I just.
Well, they all kind
got-
of mean. Every one of your tattoos, except the skull one, you paid $13 for or whatever.
It was just cheap.
It was just cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Go out and get him.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, if you have a meaning for it, I mean, it's going to mean a lot more when you do
Yeah.
it. So, which is cool.
I like the paperclip, though.
Yeah, that's be a
Well, yeah,
good
something
idea.
that's what y'all have. I mean, that's you would definitely have a. People wouldn't know unless
Yeah.
you told them, but then
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, maybe a paperclip with like lips on the side. You know.
Oh Lord, here we go.
No, the paperclip's cute. Just something simple.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
what,
like I mean, I had heard that a lot of other people, not me personally, would like say that they love a girl to try to get something from it. So like I felt like there was,
Yeah, you just bought a house.
yeah, exactly.
but I really enjoyed the fact that he had a house. I knew I wanted to marry someone who had a house because I didn't want to live in an apartment.
Yep.
So I was
all
very
our
happy
friends
he
have
had one.
Yeah, we lived in apartments for a while, and we got married.
And I was pregnant.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
and
then
we
we
were in
ended up-
houses,
yeah.
and then we finally bought our 1st house in like 2014. But that was because of the money issues we had early on, and debt and bad credit, the things that sucks, you know. But we had to go through years of getting that ready to get a home.
Well, when I did my prodigal son phase, I had a Best Buy, Circuit City, and Sam's credit card because I was like 18, 19, 20 years old. And they were like, oh, you can take a credit card. Sure. I maxed all of them out. Then I couldn't even hardly make the minimum payments. And I shouldn't have ever paid that Circuit City one because they ended up going out of business.
Yeah, you really screwed that up.
But anyway, I went through the Dave Ramsey class shortly after all those credit cards maxed out, and I mean, got a great credit score now, even though you don't really need a credit score if your house is paid off, I guess. But
Yeah,
but
it's good to have.
It's just it's better to have a good credit score than than to have a terrible one. That's for sure. I know Dave Ramsey wants to pay for everything in cash and all that, but it's for some people when you're
It's
young,
hard,
it's just
yeah.
not feasible.
Yeah.
So but just keeping your credit healthy. If you if you can't pay for everything cash and you're not making much money, sometimes it helps to have a good credit score for financing, even though.
So before you ask your question, we'll plug your business real quick. So I know you do.
Travel agent.
You're a travel agent. The name of it?
Happily Ever After Travel.
Okay.
Happily Ever Banter.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see, and I'll talk about that, man. I see you're a hustler, which is. I mean, that's a probably a saturated market.
Yeah, a
So
lot
you
of
gotta
people
really
are back
get-
into traveling now.
You got to get creative to really put yourself out there. But I'm sure it's just a lot of. You
I
got to
put
you got to
my-
grind.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a lot of cruise groups because that's mainly what I do is a lot of cruises, and people are asking for travel agents all the time, and I just put my name out there, and sometimes they contact me, but most of the time they don't. But I also am on a website called Travel Leaders, and like I have a profile on there, and people will go in there and search for.
They look at like reviews and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
like,
I have
it's
a
like
lot
Angie's
of reviews on
List
there.
or something. She's a top performer.
Okay.
Like you just Google her Travel Leaders. She's got
That's good.
so many
In
five
the
stars.
Houston
Yes.
area, I'm in the top 5.
Nice.
also.
Well, anybody's looking for
Yeah.
a cruise, hit up Happily Ever.
Or anything else. I
Yeah,
can book
and
it all.
I was gonna say Disney and cruises with big families, like she kills it.
Yeah.
I do a
that's
lot
like-
of group cruises with families traveling together.
Oh, that's good.
And I
Yeah.
do a lot of like all inclusives and Disney and all
Yeah,
that.
she booked a cruise. How many people went on that big cruise?
I did a company cruise. Yeah.
like-
Well, that was just something
wow.
that was just something you looked into. You're like, okay, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom, 6 kids, schooling. This is something I could do.
He actually pushed me into it, but
That's
it's
how
like
long you been doing it?
since 2019. I
Okay.
almost quit during COVID because everything shut
Yeah.
down
I know.
and I wasn't making any money. And he was like, just stick with it. Just don't give up. And I'm glad I didn't because I'm booming now. But he's the one who got me into it because I was just like, I don't want to do an MLM, but I feel bad that I'm not out there working, at least helping
Yeah.
you out just a little bit, just to bring in a little bit extra to take some stress off of you. And he was like, well, you love to travel and you're a great planner, because we had a travel agent who got me into it, Shannon Green.
Shout out Shannon.
Yeah. She booked our cruise that we went on in 2019. I think that was the one that she booked
That
for
was
us.
the New Year's cruise.
Yeah, the New Year's cruise.
Yeah,
and
great
John
cruise.
was like, you would be so good at this. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, I think you would. And so I interviewed and got hired.
Nice.
Well, good.
So, and it's a good company. It's a bunch of Christian moms. And funny is the lady who founded it was a homeschool mom at the time. And so she got a bunch of the other homeschool moms that was with her who were also good planners and loved to travel. And they went in together and started this company, and it's just been growing. And so I love being a part of this company. It's a very family friendly, oriented. She's even, has recommended John to people she knows because she knows he does wedding videos.
Yeah.
And she's been like, oh, my travel agent's husband does video. Contact him.
Yeah.
And so she really tries to help us all out.
Yeah,
good.
Texas based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're in
good.
Dallas. And so we have most of the agents are in Texas, but then we have other agents scattered
Yeah.
in like Oklahoma and
But I guess the good thing about
Kansas.
that, you can help people from anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's all computer.
It's all computer,
So
yeah.
Even
In fact-
on our last cruise, I was working.
Yeah, in fact, I think she told me at 9:00 she has to do some reschedule somebody else's cruise. to-
Yeah, I have
She's
a
always
hold
working.
on 2 rooms for a client, and they're like, we just can't make the deposit yet, but they want connecting rooms, and it's almost cruise booked up, so I'm trying to just
Yeah.
continue
just
the hold
continue.
for them, so whenever they can make the deposit, they still got the connecting rooms.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I didn't realize what a travel. I thought you just paid a bunch of money to somebody that was just wasted, but she sat on hold for 4 hours for Disney one time, and I was like, you need to take a
Yeah, so you're,
screenshot and
you're
show
putting
people.
time in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, show people that yeah, you can book it yourself, but if you need to make any changes, like, oh, I need to do this one little tweak, you might be on hold for 4 hours sitting there waiting for Disney to pick up. So, I mean, there's a huge thing.
Yeah, commission's built into the
Yeah,
you're paying
for it
already.
anyway, yeah.
So you're paying for a travel agent already. Might as well reap the benefits.
Yeah.
She's super organized. Like I'm more of a free spirit. When we traveled before we got married, I traveled some for work, and I didn't make any plans. I didn't do hardly anything. I was just couch surfing, and we just go walk around and walk in circles. When we got married, we went to Italy, and she booked a hotel where you could test drive a Ferrari. They brought an F430 Spider to the hotel, and I got to drive around the Italian countryside and the vineyards at dusk. It was incredible, and I would never have found this place if it wasn't for her. And that was in 2011 or 10.
2010.
Yeah, so I mean, she had it in her DNA. I was like, you could totally be a travel agent. The way you research, and you're just so good at organizing and planning. I was like, it's a natural. Like you're just
when you got 6 kids, you got to know how to organize.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets overwhelmed sometimes, but she's awesome. She's Wonder Woman.
All right. Well, so I'm going to ask the final question, and we can't say communication or finances, okay? So what is y'all's like number one marriage advice?
She's going to try to steal mine.
No, you go ahead and say it.
Go ahead, Magnus.
Fight naked.
Yeah,
Fight
I know.
naked, okay.
Always. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it?
That was his. Yeah, it's his.
I would always say, think of your spouse. Like whenever you're doing stuff, it's always include them. Think of them. Like whenever you're making plans. Like I talked to my niece about this earlier today because I asked my sister-in-law or his sister-in-law, "Can you watch the kids?" She's like, "Well, I need to ask my husband." I was like, "Okay, fine." And then her daughter was like, "Why?" It's like, well, he might have something planned that she doesn't know about. So you need to consider them before moving forward with making plans. So I'm always saying consider your spouse whenever you're doing stuff.
Yeah, and keep your spouse is more important than your children.
Right.
Yes.
And I know Tommy and Diane talk about that a lot. Most people, it's all
Right.
about the kids, all about the kids.
I know, because we have some friends who same thing. It's like, we love our kids just as much as we love each other, but you got to put your spouse first before how you think they got there from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing. You got to prioritize that.
Right.
If not, you look up, the kids are gone, and you have nothing in common with your spouse.
Exactly.
Right.
You hear a lot about
and then
that.
and you want your kids to see that connection that your loving parents they want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
Ruby.
healthy for it's healthy.
Yeah.
It's healthy for their relationships when they get older too. To
Yeah.
see that. So
Yeah. Right now,
we-
Ruby
we-
gets grossed out whenever we kiss, and so John does it.
yeah. So like I said, so we both came from houses that were our parents were split. So we didn't have that. So we want to show that and do that to where you guys came from good families. So I mean that's a good thing for you guys seeing.
Yeah, we take it for granted, and I didn't know that. I'm since I've been working on the podcast, I'm like, I can't believe y'all turned out so good after having such rough.
It's so crazy,
childhoods, 'cause
yeah.
we had it so easy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, of course this is easy. You just do what your parents did. It's like,
Yeah. No,
y'all
I
had to go,
think my parents.
okay.
I think my parents. When I was 5. I mean, she was younger
Baby.
than that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, so you, like you said, you either continue the cycle or you break it. And, for us, luckily.
I think just at the time when it all happened, just growing up, I guess we just had to be strong women. And so we were forced, I guess, to grow up at a young age, Like we start babysitting young. We start our money, we had to, our money that we made, even though our grandparents did a lot for us, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it's just different when you just are raised in like a single household, It was just girls. That's all it was.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, y'all
Yeah.
turned out great.
I know. It's so
Yeah.
crazy. People they're like, man, y'all turn, none of us ended up pregnant, us in a drug, like all that,
Yeah.
We were just blessed.
Yeah, the
Hashtag
drugs and
blessed.
pregnancy came later.
Yeah.
I had never done drugs before. Okay.
So, yeah, but hey, thank
her.
y'all.
Yes. Thank y'all for coming on.
Thanks for coming
Yes.
on.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
It wasn't too bad, huh?
No,
I can't believe Chelsea was so talkative.
Well, I calmed down.
Yeah, I seen her like.
It's
yeah.
not bad, once you get down and sit,
Yeah.
Yeah, Dale
Yeah.
don't
it's
bite.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I just kind of forget the camera's there.
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, other than that, thank y'all for coming on. This has been
Episode 20.
Yep. So this is your Meet the Magnuses episode 20 of Happily Ever Banter. Go check out Happily Ever After Travel, and book a trip through Chelsea.
Yes.
Help her out. Help the Magnuses out.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's it, y'all. Later.